students. Today we'll start our soil mechanics lecture. So these are the subsequent units which are there in our syllabus. So unit 1, which is introduction, and you can see through here we are having different types of soil formation, soil structure, so types of clay minerals, and what are the different types of weight and volume relationships or mass volume relationships, and thereafter we are having relative density. And in the same chapter we are having index properties of soil, which we are going to identify, or we are going to learn through type of moisture content, how to determine moisture content, what is meant by moisture content, what is meant by specific gravity, what is meant by density, what is meant by sieve analysis. So all these basic things we are going to learn through in this particular chapter 1. And finally we are going to classify the soil sample. So let me get back to our chapter 1 or unit 1. So first of all we'll go with the introduction. So what is meant by soil? The soil is a clear having of assemblage of solid particles with air, or which is having of gaps which will be filled with partially maybe air or partially filled with water. So gaps we generally call it as white spaces or pore spaces. So usually soil is comprising of solid particles and void spaces. This void spaces, if they are filled with air, we call it as a completely filled with air, we call it as dried sample. If this void spaces which are completely filled with water, we call it as a saturated soil sample. And again further we classify solid particles may be having certain amount of inorganic substance or organic substance, so which are having a strongly bond. So usually soil particles will be consisting of clay or sand or silt and gravel. So these are the different types of solid particles. They will be having of different bonds. So, and let me get back to another particle. So these individual particles can be separated by, if we are placing a small amount of pinch of soil in the water. So if you apply a small amount of agitation in the soil particle, they will get settled or separated. Such element is called as soil particle, and this can be excavated without needing to blast. So this is a soil. And let me get back to, where does our civil engineer come across a soil in his real-time situation? Soil will be used as a construction material or a foundation material. These two are the general usually will go with. So usually as a construction material, if you go with construction of a road, so it is required to lay a road. So construction material, this can be used. Or if you are going to lay a foundation, we need to backfill the substance. So there a soil surface it is required. And later we'll go with excavations and soil slopes. There also it is required to, if you want to go for a laying of a canal, so there are if you want to construct a canal or an embankment, there it is required to go for excavation, and we need to provide a slopes. Later if you go for earth retaining structures, to construct earth retaining structure, here also we require a soil sample to backfill the substance to make the stability of a retaining structure. And later, and fifth element where we are going to go with is underground structures like conduits, or we'll go with underground structure like we are going with minus floor structure, and some sort of special problems if the soil is having of expansive soil, that soil also have to be treated in a special fashion. So this is a first application where this is a foundation. So we are going to use footing and backfilling the substance. The soil surface has been used as a construction material in the first element. And later, as I told you, another, so this is a road surface, a national highway, or a project where soil is being used as a construction material. This is another element. So this is a retaining structure. So it is a flyover where this element is called as a retaining structure. So this is a bridge deck, and later we are going to allow the soil mass to fill here. So we can see through here the soil sample will be filled. This is a concrete substance. This is one thing. And later how the soil has been formed and how the substances have been originated. So let me give you a clear picture. So origin of soil has been taking place through physical weathering and chemical weathering. So the substance which have been done physical weathering will be having of certain elements. So first rocks, and how rocks have been made is due to chemical action or physical action. Rocks have been disintegrated and they have been formed, and later magma soil has been, so if a volcanic eruption has been happened, so this magma will be going to cool down, and again due to high melting pressures, so these have been made a rock like substance. Once again this rock will be degraded with the help of geological aspects, so they will be degraded into soil particles. This sequence of substance will be carried out till the process, and usually it is going to take place, a lot of time will be taken to form a soil particle. This to make a soil particle or to form a soil particles in nature usually takes a lot of time, so usually more than hundreds of years it may take through. And how soils exist in nature, usually they'll be having of two types, residual soils and transported soils. The residual soils which are being having of certain characteristics, that parent rock substances will be there, and parental near the parent rock only this will be residue. So and due to climatic change conditions they will be changed, and here you can see through another element is transported soils. These transported soils have been formed due to formation conditions due to weathering action. So due to weathering action, different weathering agents are there, transportation agents. So maybe water, wind, ice, and gravity. So if one has been transported by one element, we call it as another name. So you can see through here, due to ice formations or glacial formations, the soil sample which has been transported and deposited, it is called as glaciers. And if it is alluvial soil, it is transported by the help of water and deposited along the streams. So usually if we can take this element as for rivers as a best example. Lacustrine soils is a soils which have been deposited in lakes, so we call it as lacustrine soil. And marine soils which have been there in case of seashore, so usually sand or fine sand which has been there, that is called as marine soils. And later we will go with alluvial soils. So alluvial soils which have been transported with the help of wind. So due to transportation of wind, very light particles will be lifted up, so that fine particles only will be carried out in this particular element. And last we are going to have colluvial soils. These colluvial soils have been transported with the help of gravitational force. So this is one thing, and how this soil structure and all we'll see through in the next session. So like this formation will be there. Okay, so as of now we'll stop our session. Thank you.